Good everybody, it's your boy Jay Means from the Have Not family, coming to you on this beautiful Memorial Day, not only to commemorate and remember all those soldiers who lost their lives in wars all across the world through the creation of this country. Whether we were justified in those wars or ill-justified, those soldiers still lost their lives, and they will be missed by their families today and for years to come. I also wanted to commemorate the revolutionaries that lost their lives, and particularly Fred Hampton. A lot of people don't know about Fred Hampton. Fred Hampton was murdered at the age of 21. He was the chairman, the deputy chairman of the Black Panther Party in Chicago, Illinois, and he was murdered in 1969. The reason I want to talk about Fred Hampton, not only because of his age, but because me and my friends were robbed very recently by a young black man in our community. And I just wanted to point out the parallels between a young black man fighting for revolution versus a young black man who is lost in the society that we have today. And when we talk about Fred Hampton, if you want more information about Fred Hampton, there's plenty of documentaries out about him. You can find one called The Murder of Fred Hampton that you can actually find on YouTube. What was so important about Fred Hampton was not only that he was so young in age, but that the police assassinated him in his sleep while he was in bed. They lied about going in there. It was 6 cops at the back door, 8 cops at the front door. The police claimed that the Black Panthers shot first. Well, after the FBI investigated and after we got all the evidence, we found out that there was 89 to 99 shots actually fired from the police officers into Fred Hampton's bedroom, what cost him his life. The Attorney General, his name was Edward Hammerhan, excuse me, and the 13 officers were indicted, but those indictments were later cleared. And although they did not do any prison time or they did not go to jail, there was a $1.8 million settlement at that time, which was the largest ever gained from a civil rights claim against the FBI or against any law enforcement agency at that time. So a lot of history surrounding Fred Hampton, very powerful young man at a very young age, versus this young black man who me and my friends were robbed by, which I have much love for this young man. But let's look at what society did to us as far as races and as far as age. Back in Fred Hampton's day, you had marches, the passing of Martin Luther King. You had a lot of revolutionary things going on. You had the Vietnam War. You had people trying to bring the soldiers home. And you had all this racial tension. We really had police going to the streets and murdering people, innocent people. And the Black Panthers stood up, and they was called the Black Panther Party of Self-Defense, and they stood up for the protection of the people. And if you look up Jane Fonda was a mainstream actress and workout guru who actually called the Black Panthers the vanguard of the revolution and said that we should support the Black Panther Party with our money, with our love, with our propaganda, and our risk. Strong words by young Jane Fonda at the time. The parallel between these two is that you have one young black man who was willing to die for his idealism, who was willing to die for the people, and you have another young black man who was in pain and was put in a situation where he didn't see any hope. And we have to look at our society, and we have to understand that the time between the 60s up until the present day, there was no drugs in Fred Hampton's time flooding the streets. You had a few, but this outbreak of crack cocaine did not hit the streets. There was not a war on drugs at this time. So a lot of things, a lot of ways that they had to move was very illegal on the FBI's account and on law enforcement's account, versus this young black man who did not have the money he needed. He was robbing us for diapers. He didn't have the money he needed. He did not have the resources he needed, nor did he have his mind or the education to fight back in a proper way to fix him and his family. So when we look at the black community today and we look at these young black males, you have to understand what they go through in a mentality. Some of these young black men are felons by the age of 15. Some have been incarcerated for 5, 6, 7 years, and they have children. And they have to find a way to be seen as a man, not only by their children, by their woman, and by the society. And that's not easy, especially with the racial slurs and the racial things that have been going on in present day, with the killings of Michael Brown, Freddie Gray, with the riots, with the protesting. It really gives people a bad taste in their mouth about the black community. And I want you to understand, my family out there, that there's reasons why black people act the way that they do. There's reasons why black people scream for justice versus injustice in this society. And it is your job to educate yourself on the situation, because we all profit and benefit from the misery of people in this country. From the capitalist approach of this country, we definitely benefit for those being on the bottom, and we are taught that they are less than us, and it's their fault that they're less than us. So I just want to encourage all y'all to do your history, be loved, do your history on the Black Panther Party, do your history on the veterans, do your history on the wars, and never forget that every life that was given for you is important. I love y'all.